And we're live. Okay, let's do it. Brought to you by the new Pharaoh's Lounge Kickstarter. Happy Harley Days 2, Harley's Angels. Check out the new poster. We're at 13,000. Let's get to 14,000 today. Keep me in the lifestyle I'm accustomed to, which is a pile of coke and hookers. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm coughing from my weed. Anyway, let's do another class here. Let's get us back to the beginning here. We are making an attempt with all the crazy shakeups going on at DC Comics. And due to our moderate success here at Pharaoh's Lounge as a independent comic book publisher, why not throw a hat in the ring? I mean, they're gonna hire that fucking Berlanti guy. You're gonna have fucking 10 years of fucking DC movies where can Superman save the day and also make dinner with Lois? Fucking stupid. Fucking. I liked Arrow until Felicity came on the show. And then I bailed because I couldn't fucking take it. And then fucking Diggle's having a kid. They're all having fucking kids. Let's have the baby while you're shooting a fucking Just, no. Once you stop with the kids on the fucking superhero shows. Oliver, you have a son. I knew. Bail. Just bail. Stop with the kids. Like I'm the one making rules here. Anyway, we're trying to write a Superman movie. And we're going through what's called the Pharaoh's Lounge writing process. For those of you with writer's block, we're saying, shit, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to write. I don't know what to do. This is how I write. There's no real technique. There's no Grant Cardone fucking 10 times book. There's only me with a fucking rash on my wrist because it's fucking bracelet. Anyway. We are going through, what you do is you pick a section of comics. You don't just say broad and go, oh, I'm going to go write a Superman story. You pick a section of Superman comics, and the idea is you pin yourself in with that, using that as kind of like the boundary of you're using this source material to kind of inspire ideas. You read the dialogue over, this way you're reading it out loud, this way you're hearing Superman, you're doing the voices, and as you're reading the dialogue out loud and everybody's looking like a fucking weirdo, you're coming up with dialogue of your own, you change it around, you fuck with it. This is my writing process. You play some fucking music, play some Beethoven, play some fucking Guns N' Roses, whatever gets you in the mood, whatever kind of mood you're trying to set, and then you start. Let's take you what we've done so far. Our goal is to write a 120-page script. We're writing it in comic book style, which is usually about 6 panels a page. So we're looking to write essentially a 360-beat poem like Homer's The Iliad and the Odyssey. We're calling it Metropolis because Superman's been done 1,000 million fucking times. I want to call this movie Metropolis. I don't know. That's the working title so far. How about Superman and Lex, best buds? Anyway. We open it up, like I said, we get into a lot of stuff fast. Page 1, Skull ship rising out of Krypton. Krypton implodes. The little fucking ship gets away under the fucking radar. We change it over. Clark and Lex Luthor meeting for the first time at a train station. Lex Luthor is being bullied. Clark saves his ass. They get on the train. They become buddies. They exchange life stories, vaguely, but here and there. Lex points Clark out to what he wants to do. They both ask each other why they're not going to Gotham, which is, of course, the more advanced Gotham beyond Batman Beyond City. But that's on the other side of the planet. It's none of this fucking they're across each other from the bay piece of shit Zack Snyder story. Again, no bitterness here. Nothing but positivity. Clark is pointed out to the Daily Planet. It's that fast. He gets to the fucking Daily Planet, bumps into Lois, literally makes a good impression on Perry. He gets a gig escorting Lois to this big fucking club party, which is supposedly a secret front for all the criminal undergoings involved in Metropolis. Of course, when they go to this party, shit goes down. Jimmy Olsen's undercover as a waiter. They uncover a mine underneath this club, which is using labor, but of course what Clark doesn't realize is that mine has kryptonite in it. He is jumped, him and Lois, by thugs. They are thrown into a car. They are thrown into the river, left for dead. Of course, Clark saves Lois, gets away, but of course he's confused. He's back at his apartment. He beats up a wife beater, but the wife is scared of him. We're moving on. We're continuing on. We're telling you this story in fast motion of what we've written so far. The idea is going through Action Comics. We try to pull our goal, our challenge, if you will, is to try to pull at least, even if it's one fucking line. We go through every issue of a series, and we try to pull one thing that we can use from each issue in our master plan. If we want to use it in the scene that we're working on at the time, we make notes. We like the scene. We put it at the back of our Word file. We can copy-paste it later on. We want to put it in there. So the idea is right now, like I said, we've shown our opener. We've shown Clark and Lex meet. We show Clark go to the Daily Planet. He wants to be a writer, gets his first assignment from the planet. We talk about Metropolis as a city that has beat the shit. It has gone through a great war. It has gone through a great depression. Again, the way I see it, this is on planet Saturn. No references to real cities or pop culture because, again, we're establishing our own world. I can't stand fucking, it's such a weak writer thing. Pop culture references aren't funny. Dr. Phil references aren't fucking funny. They're not fucking funny. They should. They're me. I'm a weak fucking writer. Look how weak my writing is. I can't write an actual original joke, so I'll go weak with a fucking pop culture reference. Again, we don't do that here at Pharaoh's Lounge. We're doing the Game of Thrones, man. Clean slate, our own planet, our own universe, our own history. So, we have the Roadhouse. Again, Clark gets his first assignment. He's escorting Lois. He goes to the Roadhouse. Jimmy Olsen's disguised as a waiter. He's trying to get some pictures. They're trying to figure out what this... What are you doing, babe? What are you chewing on there? The dog's chewing on cardboard. Idiot. They want to uncover this gangster. Clark's trying to make an impression on Lois. Lois is basically essentially our first Bond girl in our Bond universe here. Superman, James Bond kind of thing we got going on here. Lois and Clark try to investigate this tunnel underneath the Roadhouse during a attempted mugging that, of course, when the lights go out, Clark is going to foil. Him and Lois, they uncover this thing, they get jumped. Clark, of course, is even in his early superhero days here, things are not working out well. He's nearly got Lois killed. He scared some fucking lady who was trying to save her from her abusive husband. So he just bolts out for a little bit, goes back to his family farm, where he has a flashback about his adopted parents, Jonathan and Martha, taking him in, teaching him the ropes, also telling him this will always be a place for him to be able to hide, to cool off, to cut loose, but to never get too comfortable here, to never hide here, because the world needs him. His powers are important. He is important. Just great words of encouragement from his folks. We vaguely imply that they are now gone, so this farm is kind of like abandoned. It's his fortress of solitude, and this is where he has his flashback about going off to try and be like a college football star, taking the money from his folks, going off to college, but he finds out his fucking coach is betting on his games, kind of using him, exploiting the other players, exploiting him. So he bolts that fucking game. He does some time in the circus. He does some time as a soldier. And now he's gone to Metropolis. We railroad it back. He goes back to Metropolis. He confides in his new friend, Lex Luthor, who is going to help him build a suit to go back and figure out what the hell's going on down in that mine. Clark goes to the mine, beats the shit out of the thugs that are guarding it. He's trying to save all the fucking slave labor down there. Of course, somebody floods the fucking mine. Clark fucking saves the day, saves the destruction. And I believe that's as far as we are right now. Going further in, Clark will then take out some thugs. He'll save the day with all the people. Clark will, of course, deliver the story to the Daily Planet, which gets him the job. Lois is a little pissed that he scooped her. And then I was thinking here, okay, every town we get the cliche, slave labor. Lois will impress upon the story a little further. Mysterious. We can even say that Clark names him Superman. Or you don't even have to use Superman yet. Saved by a mysterious man. An alien, a being, something, a guardian, a god. It was as they said. Witnesses say it was as God Himself came down. Witnesses say it was like as if God Himself came down from heaven to rescue them. Really, really cheesy melodramatic stuff that Clark can play up. Perry can even dismiss it. The story as tabloid fodder. But it can become a big story. Either way, you got to involve Lois. Like I said, Lois to me, I'm not demoting her. I'm just saying this is a Superman story. It's a male-centric story. So Lois is a Bond girl. All the girls in my stories are Bond girls because I grew up on James Bond movies. I fucking love James Bond movies, and that's how I write my goddamn stories. If you don't like it, take it on the fucking class. This one's free. All right. Perry, of course, will become a new mentor to Clark. That can cut on Ken. Now Perry's gonna tell Clark. This is where we stopped last time. Perry will direct Clark to go after Butch's gang. Which Clark can do in a clumsy fashion, yet brave and violent, destructive, not necessarily violent, destructive fashion. But it's not leading anywhere. Now again, any of you jumping on late, we're going to write the art script first. We're laying the script out first. We're getting to our 360 beats, and then we go back to all the dialogue. So essentially, you're writing two scripts. I'm going to lay the whole story out first so that I'm not... The problem is sometimes when you're writing dialogue, you slow down because you want everything to be kind of bold. So you get a little annoyed with yourself. So you just gotta want to get to the layout first. You want to lay out the blueprint, then we start putting the buildings in. You know what I mean? We're putting the concrete before we put in the bathrooms. It's not leading anywhere. All right, going after the cult like hive in mind. The idea is it starts with the gang and it leads to a cult. I want to almost do like a Court of Owls thing here in Metropolis, but it's more of like a cult that's coming in now. Not some cult that's been in Gotham since the beginning. This is a cult that's forming now because Metropolis is at its lowest fucking point. All right, we got to make sure we get that in our thing. Our setting here, Metropolis. Now again, we probably have written this 1,000 times, but again, keep reminding yourself. Metropolis at this point, having been through the Great Depression, having been through a Great War, and currently going through a Great Depression, is at its lowest point, lowest possible point, on the day Clark and Lex arrive in Metropolis. Now, Metropolis, City of Dreams, the Big Apricot. The mechanical suit. Okay, so we got the mechanical suit that Clark wears from Lex will be destroyed or lost when Clark has to save everyone from the flooding mine tunnel. Because again, we're starting with the mechanical suit. Elements of this mechanical suit will go into like the Metallo character, maybe the Lex Luthor super fucking cyborg thing, loaded up on kryptonite. Later, when Clark is confiding with Lex again, he can see parts of Lex's suit at the lab, which shows that Lex is involved with the cult because he was able to go to the mine and retrieve the suit, proving his involvement like that gotcha moment. Lex will be angry with Clark and lie by saying he wasn't able to save any data. Concept for a new suit. Okay, so we need to get from... That's where we were stuck last time. You have Clark going back to Lex. The idea is that Lex is giving Clark a suit. Lex is giving Clark a suit, but he's recording his data. He's recording his DNA. Lex is making Clark his first suit. The black one. I want to go with that black and silver, of course. And recording his data and DNA, and either using it successfully, or it could die with him in the end. You know, Lex's assessment, you can't possibly be this selfish. To have the powers of a god and not be willing to share them. And not be willing to share them makes you the true criminal. Oh, I love it. I love the logic. I love the logic. You gotta have the great logic in your villain. There's nothing worse than a villain that's just a bad guy. You want logic. Even the Joker. You look at Heath Ledger's Joker. His logic was, he didn't have any logic. He was chaos, and then he gets the money, and you think, oh, well, he's another guy with billions of dollars. And he burns the money, thereby proving his true nature as an anarchist. Hang on. Need some water, because I'm an old man. I love teaching class. Just to see her again. All right. I don't know what it is about this fucking... These new bracelets we use to get into our apartments. They secretly giving me a fucking rash. Only this wrist. Anyway. So, we cut to the next scene. Clark busting up Butch's hideout. Through the smoke and dust, see Clark in the black suit a la Batman Begins. Lex is making the first suit, the black and silver, recording his data. You can't possibly be this selfish. I like that idea. That's Lex's logic. Now, Butch, after Clark's beating the shit out of all his thugs, tracking some hideouts, he's running to the getaway car. Boom! The car explodes. So literally, Butch is taken out. Gangster Butch Maxson is blown up. Someone is one step ahead of Clark. Eventually, we see it's Lex, but for now, Butch is blown up. Again, we don't have to say that it's Lex. It could be somebody else. Well, every now we're having some fun trying to write up a little movie here. Clark can't stick around because he may take the blame, or Jimmy Olsen is on hand with possibly Lois gets a picture of Clark running away. Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. Okay. Batman joke. Lois could be there on the cover as a stripper or a cocktail waitress. Lois and Clark make a pact to go after the people from the Roadhouse party. Court of Owls, kind of Metropolis, like a space cult. Suit is loaded up. Okay, so we got all this right now. Ultra Humanite. Connecting the origins. Page 22. Butch's car explodes. Clark blown backwards. Did you ever get a look? Destroys the casino. He gives the money away to the poor. Lois will be suspicious. The idea is okay. Clark goes back to his place. And Lois is there waiting for him. Wearing his football jersey. Boom. Okay, I like this. Or a Metropolis. Jersey. Sweater. Something modern day Bond girl. Sexy. She makes accusations at Clark. And then when Clark denies it, she tosses him the pictures that Jimmy took while undercover. Lois was undercover. She essentially blackmails Clark, and they get it on. We get a great... The best part is you don't have to get to the melodramatic part of like Lois finding out that Clark is Superman. Just boom, right there. She's been on the case. She's following him, fucking causing destruction. They work together. Lois helps Clark fix his dead end. In more ways than one. Hey, you don't fucking talk about me. Alright. Yeah, if it's a noble, then not a permanent solution. Boom, you have them hooking up right here. Bang. Bang, bang, bang. So this is all stuff we could play around with. The whole thing with the stories. Senator Hastings, gossip columnists. Again, these are all for our notes. But we have gotten to a nice little point here at page 22. Again, it may stretch out once you start putting the dialogue in. Again, we're writing a comic book style, but then we can take all the comic book stuff out of it once we have our 120 pages laid out. So you know what we're doing in terms of distance. We're trying to write a 2-hour movie. I would love to do this as like a pilot on HBO, but again, I'll take whatever the fuck I can get this in front of. We're going to do some concept art for this, do some Kickstarter for it. It's basically going to become like a fan fiction thing. And we're going to do a badass Kickstarter for it with the finished script. Ooh, I like that idea. And a hot Lois Lane Bond girl cover. And there it is, man. We'll throw some concept pages in there, some concept art for our characters, some badass Jose Varese art. This is going to be a badass Kickstarter we're going to do, actually. This is going to be my Metropolis fan fiction Kickstarter. Bang. Jose Variz, baby. Okay, where were we? Page 23. So again, we continue our layout. We now have, so it gets shown. Clark's been going after Butch's people after the dam's been flooded, so now that's kind of like a dead end now. So anytime Clark is uncovering something, someone's fucking it up for him. So again, he's been confiding in Lex. Again, as a movie, right now it's like this obvious, it's obviously Lex, but let's not make it so much that it's Lex. Maybe Lex turns at the end of the movie. Maybe Lex has his own agenda. But right now, the way we're dicking around the reader is that, oh, it's so obvious that Lex Luthor is one step ahead, right? But again, maybe he's just one fucking little creak in the fucking the handle here. Because right now, as the reader, you're thinking, well, Lex Luthor is bad guy, so it's obviously him who's doing all this shit. But if it's obvious, then let's at least make it exciting. Because otherwise, our story's flat if it's just so obvious that it's Lex. So we're trying to get with this idea that it's not Lex, or that it's Lex and Lex is being manipulated by Brainiac. Something. We got something here that we're playing around with. Or, like I said, we can connect. I had this idea of connecting Lex Luthor's origin. Again, we're in our notes here. Okay, in our notes section. Well, Jimmy will tell Lois the kid gang to try to recruit him at the Roadhouse. Our next transition, which is why they're experimenting with kryptonite on the poor and eventually on kids. Because maybe the adults can't handle the kryptonite. That's what we're trying to get to now in our notes thing here. We have Ultra Humanite. The Ultra Humanite Project. Ultra Humanite could end up being our fucking villain in this one. We don't want it to be so obvious that it's Lex Luthor's the bad guy. Again, we are connecting their origins. So again, these are some notes that we're dicking around with. So let's put some new notes right here. We've introduced the idea of Lex Luthor part of the cult. Lex Luthor's Ultra Humanite. What was the other thing we were dicking around with here? Was Clark. Black and silver suit is how we start. He's got a Batman dark looking thing. By the end, Lois will encourage him to switch. Lois and Clark are now hooking up. They're going to team up. So we got to get to our next jump here. Jimmy will tell Lois and Clark at the kid gang to try to recruit him for Roadhouse. Leads to the next transition of why they are experimenting with kryptonite on the poor and eventually kids. Because maybe the adults can't handle the kryptonite. The drug could be called crypto. Play on crypto. You ever hear of a drug called crypto? There's a connection between the drug and the drug comes in the meteors. Alright, we can make this fucking thing a drug. You can even move the fucking mine scene back. But again, we're making the action fast. This is a fast fucking story. Lois and Clark hook up. They get it on our page 22 here in the layout, right? Sex scene. Implied. We cut to our next day. Cut to the next day. Either at the planet or at Lois' place. See, again, it was Lois being the aggressor. Lois was waiting for Clark. Lois has a picture from Jimmy. They start plotting to go after Lex. No, go after who, though? That's where we're stuck now. We just had our sex scene. Lois knows Clark is Superman, or Lois knows Clark is superpowered. She's sitting there waiting at his place. She knows there's something more to him. Something's going down. They get it on. She says, look, we should be working together. They should be at the planet. And maybe the planet is taken over. Maybe thugs come into the planet. Alright, so here we're gonna dive back into the source material. First, let's look at our notes. Before we go back into source material, we have to go into our notes here. The kid gangs, the superpowers, the Wayside Inn. Clark will have his work cut out for Metropolis, chain gang prison stories, the sweatshop, slave labor, we're still working that in. Coreytown, fugitive, Walter Crane. San Monte neighborhood in Metropolis, where Clark will set up his residence. We already took care of that. Be close to the crime. Lois can even make that line. Is that why you stay in this shithole? To be close to the criminals? Is that why you took up residence here? See, again, every now and then you get some ideas for some dialogue. Took up residence in this shithole. Or to be close to crime. Are you the Batman? Are you the Batman, Clark? Come back from the dead? I heard Batman retired once he killed the Joker. Lois finds out about Clark and teams up with him and fucks him. Okay, so we're here. So again, we've changed it up a little bit. We've changed up our storylines a little bit. We've had a little fun. So now we're in our transition here. So now Clark's beating the shit out of the thugs. Butch is taken out. So we know that Lex right now, we've worked in Lex as our main villain. He's one step ahead. Oh, that's what I was saying. Guys, see, I'm glad I came back to this. Because I forgot. Because I'm a fucking pothead. We are possibly connecting the origin of Lex to the origin of Clark in terms of when Clark crashed into the planet. He was found by the Kents, perhaps in the wreckage or the crash, could have killed the Luthers. Either Lex was with them, or he was left behind by them. You see, Clark, the night you crashed into this planet, you made your first kill. You took out my parents. But I promise you, Clark, this is no revenge. This is no typical revenge plot. Because you see, I hate my parents. They were no Thomas and Martha Wayne. Oh, sir. The night you crashed, they were leaving me. Either at a boarding school or perhaps an insane asylum. Perhaps fearful of his high intelligence. As we establish Lex, we need to figure out what made him so dangerous. Why did his parents leave him? You see, Clark, you were adopted by a nice old couple that found you along the road. Thought maybe they thought you belonged to the dead Luthers. We have this in here somewhere, but I want to continue on about it. Like maybe Lex has been stalking Clark stalking Clark since his crash. You can have that in there too. Lex could have been lost or given the gift of great intelligence by Brainiac. By the end of our story, or our movie, Lex can send off a beacon to Brainiac that may or may not have successfully established connection to bring Brainiac around for the next story. Or perhaps a trilogy. You never know. It's nice to dream. That's what we do as writers. We dream. You know, as writers, that's what we do. 1 second. People annoy the shit out of me. Ooh. Alright, good. Eat her butt. Anyway, I like this. I like this. Now we can even further. So even if it's so obvious that it is Lex, at least we give a good reason. We started off as the idea that it's revenge, but it's not so much revenge. As much as it's obsession. Lex is obsessed with Clark. He wants his DNA. He wants his powers. He wants to match his intelligence with his powers. To create the perfect human being. To create the Superman. To create the perfect specimen of being. A reign of the Superman. To bring this city and eventually this planet out of the black hole it is destined for. Lex is a patriot. He's a crusader. Lex is a patriot. A crusader. Clark will say, the people of this city don't need my power. All they need is my example. We'll come up with something cool there. In our climax, with just Lex is depowering Clark and fucking his ass up. So what we have here now, like I said, let's go back through our notes again. Let's go all the way through our notes. We have Ultra Humanite. We have the idea of the Brainiac cult. Stanislaw Kolber, the miner. Blakely Town again. We could talk about the Blakely Town mine. Don't need my power, need my example. Shylocks. We got the circus, where he talks about the circus. We have the kid gangs in here. Kryptonian. The future of evolution. We talk about Clark watching him the entire time. Revenge fantasy against rich assholes. Destroy all their businesses. Ultra Humanite's a little bit of a preview of Lex Luthor. We got the whole thing. Clark and Lois sleeping together. Boom, we got all that already. We got these notes already. It says you want to continue to smash people through walls. We could save that. Madras Emerald, the precursor to the Green Lantern ring. Blackie Sarto, the jewel thief. Okay. Alright, so now, Sue Dog, you're not trying to be Batman, are you? Lois is waiting for him. It's a dead end. Alright, we got all this. So let's fit all this into the notes. Take this from the notes up to our page 22. was 22 or 23. Alright. So, they bang. We cut to the planet the next day. Maybe some fireworks going off, something like that. Not Lois's place. It should be at the planet. We don't need them in the fucking pajamas yet. They have one night together so far. Next day at the planet. Cut to the next day at the planet. Where Lois, Jimmy, and Clark will begin to plot. To figure out the mine, the gangsters, the whole shebang. Okay. So let's dive into the source material to figure out, because now we've hit our page 23 in our layout. We have a mine that just got flooded. Clark saving the day. So now where do we go? Now what do we do? They're on the story. Clark, Lois, Jimmy are going to be teaming up together. They're at the planet. They're going over some blueprints, right? Okay, let's go over the players. This is where we can connect the Blakely town mine to be a possible hiding place. The mine was flooded against the seawall. Whatever colored rocks or gems were down there. Perhaps they were washed out to sea. Or perhaps someone went in there after our appearance and cleaned the place out. Waited for us to come back to flood the fucker, to flood the place. Who would have such a disregard for life? In tough times, life takes on the same meaning as a commodity. The city is at its lowest point, waiting for a Superman. I like it. But we need some plot. What we need here now is, okay, what do they do now? We talk about an abandoned train station, an abandoned train station over the old mine, along the seawall, something. We need a next spot for them to investigate. And it can't just be, okay, we go into another mine again. It's basically trying to speculate what's going on in that mine. So now we need to get, what we're trying to do now, plot device wise, is we need to get from this mine thing to basically the crypto drug. Everybody, all the poor people in Metropolis are doing this fucking crypto drug. And maybe there's fighting pits. I need to get to some more meat here. Why are the rich fucking with it? Because the rich are bored. Taking advantage of a desperate city. The rich are bored. And taking advantage of a desperate city as their own resources begin to dwindle. If they take down the population of Metropolis, Their own worth goes up. So they deal in crypto, which gives the user temporary superpowers. And they set up fighting pits to pit the users, the addicts, the users, against one another. In the end, so now we need to get there. I like this. The idea is, so we have kryptonite being used as drugs. Because again, kryptonite was always, so it's had the same use since its inception in Superman comics, is that it poisons him, makes him weird, makes him stupid. So what if it was doing the same thing to like everybody else? So now I feel like in our story, we take one of these Superman traditional tropes and we can kind of give it some new meaning, you know? So you have kryptonite being used as a drug, a steroid, and also for human exploitation. Fighting pits. So how do we get there? Okay, Jimmy will tell Lois and Clark. Okay, that's what we have that here. Ultrahumanite Project. Not ready to abandon Ultrahumanite yet. It's a stupid name. That could be like the name for the project. Okay. Temporary superpowers. Set up fighting pits. We already got these notes here. Alright, good. Jimmy will tell Lois and Clark of the Kid Gang. They try to recruit him at the Roadhouse, which will lead us to the next transition where they're experimenting. Okay, that's what we want to do. We're going to need to get to kryptonite being used on kids and adults and fighting pits. So now we got to get this. And Jimmy is the link. Lois and Clark will tail Jimmy as he goes undercover and joins the Kid Gang, which will lead us to the crypto pits. Oh, the crypto pits. Here we go. Crypto pits. Oh, I like it. I love it. Old Blakelytown. Blakelytown mine. Blakelytown. Also, there will be a way where Clark will see some of the residents in his slum also entering the pits. Kind of a play on crypto, yeah. Okay, so now we get to our next page, because basically they're going to lay out the blueprint. Where does Jimmy go meet these kids? The Baronta. Okay, good. So here we are, face to face, a couple of silver spoons. All right. Okay, so now we got to connect ourselves to these pits. So Jimmy's kind of like our Robin here. cut to Jimmy heading off to an arcade. Something where he will meet up with the kids from the club. Clark follows behind, dressed as a bum, having fun going undercover. I need something in this suit. He is wearing the new suit from Lex under the disguise. Perhaps also a gas mask. Where do we go from here? All right, let's dive into the source material because we're hitting a wall. So I'm going to take a puff, I'm going to read some comic books, and go from there. No, what did we just do? What did I just do here? Screwed up here. Okay, always remember, brought to you by the new Pharaoh's Lounge Kickstarter. Still at 13.3. I want to try to get to 14 today. I'm going to check my DraftKings real quick. I got tournaments going on today. I'm a bit of a fantasy football junkie. Sorry. It's football season. Ted, fuck you too. Not doing well right now. Get my ass kicked. Anyway, let's get into some source material because now we've got Clark following Jimmy. He's dressed as a bum. He's following Jimmy. Jimmy's got to catch up with the kids. But again, I don't like shit going on off camera if I can answer it. So again, we need to answer the question. How does Jimmy meet up with these kids? Clark follows him. What happens next? We need to get the crypto being used as a drug and these people being put into fighting pits with their superpowers and their shit against each other. All right, let's do this. Let's do a puff and some source material. I gotta tell you, I love writing Superman. Leaping over skyscrapers, running faster than an express train, springing great distances and heights, lifting and smashing tremendous weights, possessing an impenetrable skin. These are the amazing attributes which Superman, savior of the helpless and oppressed, avails himself as he battles the forces of evil and injustice. Clark Kent, ace daily reporter, is at the police headquarters when an emergency call comes in. An ambulance is wanted at 2211 Terrace Avenue. A man there is dropped into a stupor from which he can't be aroused. Mind if I tag along? Okay, Clark, but step on it. The ambulance races through the streets, sirens screaming, blaming Clark nearer to the beginning of one of his startling adventures. When they reach the 2211 Terrace Avenue. Good Lord, that's him! He's a mass of purple rotting blotches. Beats me. First case of its kind I've ever seen. Oh, plague. We got a plague. Later, as Clark pounds out his story in the Daily Star's newsroom. Stop it. Stop working. Thank heavens he's alive. Why all the excitement? The puzzled reporter is forced to submit a physical examination. He appears normal, but... Now listen, I'm a peaceable guy. Why don't you tell me what this is all about? You're a very lucky young man. Do you realize that all the men who've examined the purple blotched patient, you are the only one that's alive? What? Whew! The only thing that saved me was my super resistance to the disease. The new disease, without warning, spreads like wildfire. People drop right and left on the streets until the majority of Metropolis are afraid to leave the dubious safety of their homes. Bolt the doors, barricade them. We've got to keep that disease out. But for how long? Nothing can keep it out. But we've got to get food or starve. Daily the streets are clogged with death, wagons carting away load upon load of putrid. Oh, wow. Putrefied corpses. Horror grips the city. Plague. Purple plague grips Metropolis. See, this is the first time I think they've mentioned Metropolis. Takes terrible toll by Clark Kent. Hundreds drop. At his apartment, Clark is visited by a friendly young scientist, Professor Henry Travers. All right, so we have Terrace Avenue. Remember, we're world building. So don't ever forget to take down some locations. In our notes, Terrace Avenue, Professor Henry Travers, right? Professor Henry Travers. I have a theory regarding this gruesome plague. Would you care to hear it? Would I? Shoot! If you check up on your history, Clark, you'll find that back in the Middle Ages, mankind was blighted by what was also known as the Purple Plague. It is my belief that we're experiencing a recurrence of that same disease. But what might we do to stamp it out? That's just what I'd like to know. There's a rare volume on that disease in the library. Would you care to look at it? You might unearth some interesting material for your newspaper. When they reach the public library, may we see Dr. Farmer's study of the Purple Plague? You'll have to wait your turn, gentlemen. An old gentleman who has been here frequently for it has been reading it now. Is this him coming now? Here you are. Very interesting indeed. I've told him not to strain his eyes too much, but he refuses to listen to me. As you can see, it's just as I told you. The symptoms are exactly the same. By Jove, you're right. And within a darkened sedan, the old man slips off a false mask. That young scientist, Henry Travers, has been showing too much interest in that volume. We'll have to do something about it. Yes, Ultra. You will. Ooh, it's the Ultra-Humanite. Guided by the information in that book, I've been conducting experiments to battle this plague. Would you like to see what I've accomplished? You bet. Lead on. Later, within Travers' laboratory, you see I've isolated the plague germ. Now, if I can only concoct an antidote, you'll have the grateful thanks of all mankind. After Clark leaves, Travers continues to work furiously. I've got to find that serum. I've got to! Days later, after delays, setbacks, discouragement galore, I'd like to smash these blasted tubes, but I've got to go on. The victory, the antidote, I've found it. You've heard me, Clark. I've discovered it. The plague serum. I've beat it. I've, short distance away. The fools stumbled onto something. Get him. Bring him here. Right away, Ultra. Clark, some men breaking in. That's enough out of you. There were the sounds of a struggle. Then he was cut off. Quickly, Clark changes to his Superman costume. I'm going to look into this pronto. Shortly thereafter, a weird figure leaps away from Kent's apartment and off into the night. Onwards towards Travers' laboratory races the man of tomorrow, a veritable streak of light. Thugs carrying off Travers. What? It's Superman! Get him! Drop him! Wading into the terrified muscle men, Superman flings them about as if they were bowling pins. Oh, they fly through the air with the greatest of ease. Into that car, quick. But get out before I plug you. Superman streaks after the fleeing auto. He's catching up. What do we do? Jam on those brakes and leave the rest to me. As the car skids to a halt. Get on, you! What do you want from me? So long, chump! Stop! As Superman's figure hurtles down after Travers, Ultra's men make good on their getaway. Beat it! I gotta hand it to you. You're smart. Down into the empty space hurtles Superman into a breath-snatching drop. Got you! Superman's outflung arms catches a ledge, halting their downward plunge. Save your breath, you'll need it. Aye. Superman races up the side of a precipitous cliff like a maddened anthropoid. They make good on their escape. Well, the important thing is you're safe. But this is amazing. Who are you? Just a good friend of yours, and of humanity. Wait, I haven't told you how grateful I am. Just throw all your energy into work. That's all I ask. Superman barged in, we had to run for it. But we succeeded in killing Travers, Superman, eh? So he dares to interfere again. No freak of nature will stop me from achieving my goal. The human race shall be blotted out so that I can launch a race of my own. And no one, nothing shall prevent it. Now there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Look at it. You basically have right here the Moonraker fucking James Bond fucking evil villain plot device right here. No freak of nature will stop me from achieving my goal. The human race shall be blotted out so that I can launch a race of my own. Now that is interesting. What if we do a swerve, right? What if we do a swerve And Lex isn't the true villain. That he is merely a scientist working for the man who turns out to be Ultra Humanite. Because he is the one. He is the one who is the minion of Brainiac. And his job is to smash the Earth, smash the planet, remember Saturn, before the arrival of Brainiac. Again, Ultra Humanite deserves some consideration as the possible lead villain, who at the end can be the one who causes the rift between Clark and Lex. Again, we can throw a little swerve in there. I like that fucking... I can blot out... The human race shall be blotted out so I can launch a race of my own. I fucking love that line. It's a great line. The human race shall be blotted out so that I can start a race of my own. My God, Ultra Humanite. Let me tell you, this guy gets no respect, but damn good plot. Later, as Superman enters his apartment, I wonder how long that phone's been ringing and who it can be. Since I last called, I've had a terrifying experience. But even more important, I've succeeded in arranging a demonstration of my serum before the Scientific Society tomorrow. That's the name they came up with, the Scientific Society. We're the Scientific Society. It's a bunch of fruits. And you, Dr. Greenlee, what do you think of Trevor's discovery? Obviously the ravings of a sensation-seeking opportunist. You'll retract those words when I prove them wrong. The demonstration begins. The assembled scientists watch tently as Professor Travers injects his serum into the victim of the Purple Plague. Several minutes later. Well, where are the good results you so loudly predicted? I can't understand it. There doesn't appear to be any improvement of the patient. Travers, his demonstration a complete failure, is driven from the room by a chorus of boos. Faker, throw him out! Boo! I'm ruined! Disgraced! Tough luck. And you were so certain that you discovered a satisfactory serum. That evening, Travers is badly in need of encouragement, and here's where he gets it. As the Man of Steel lands outside Travers' laboratory, he hears smashing sounds from within. You destroying instrument yourself? What's the idea? What's wrong? Have you gone mad? Get out of here, I'll smash whatever I please. Up you go. Put me down. Maybe this will shake a little sense into you. Stop it. This letter will explain why I'm stopping my experiments, finishing them for good. Let's have it. A dishonorary dismissal from your scientific society? Back up. Remember how Pasteur and other great scientists achieved results in the face of scorn from their fellow savants? Your ultimate goal is too important for you to permit yourself to be deterred by personal disgrace. But they've closed down on me to such an extent that the Forrester Chemical Corporation refuses to sell me the rare chemicals which I need to carry on my investments. My investigations. Don't worry, I'll get those chemicals for you. Superman's figure plummets down atop the Forrester Chemical Corporation. Ooh, okay. They could be making the drugs. They could be the front now. Forrester Chemical Corporation. A new front. Now that the Roadhouse has been shut down. Forrester or Forrestor? Forrester. Don't worry, I'll get those chemicals for you. Now, Forrester Chemical Corporation could be where the drugs. This could be where they're manufacturing the drugs. The crypto. The crypto pits. I like the fucking crypto pits, man. Alright, what do we got? A mighty heave from Superman and the massive skylight is uprooted. Someone's coming. Raise your hands, you thief. It looks like you caught me red-handed. Too bad you can't hold me. Here are the chemicals. Never mind how I got them. Get to work. You've given me new hope. His mission concluded, Superman leaps off to the Travers laboratory. Shots fired. Here's your Superman, unconscious. I thought that electric gun would be sufficient. You are losing all your willpower. You are losing all willpower of your own. You can only do as I direct. Ultra fucking humanite. Look at this. He don't fuck around. He's got Superman laid out on a table. Here if he gives him like a Roman war helmet, just drapes his balls across his eyes and mouth. Behold how meekly he stands. Superman is my slave, subject to my every mental whim. You will assist my men spread the purple plague. Yes, master. A fantastic airship of Ultra's creation wings out over the city to spread its cargo of purple death. Ooh, an airship. I like the idea of using an airship. Possible use of an airship and or dirigible. I love dirigibles. No kryptonite. I already got the kryptonite mine. Koreatown. Now, see those germ-laden tubes. Toss them out. I will obey. But whirling suddenly, Superman darts forward and wrecks the fantastic ship's controls. Next stop for this plane, eternity. Down toward the Earth plunges the crippled vessel, and total destruction. Good riddance. The ship is destroyed, and Superman made good on his escape. Blast him! I was tricked. He only pretended to be under my hypnotic suggestion. Next morning, as Clark walks to work, what happened? That boy fainted. The purple plague. As others shrink back in terror, Clark strides forward, lifts the child. You cowards, letting him just lie there. Kent rushes the youth to a hospital. Is it? Yes, it's the purple plague. He mustn't die. He's my only boy, and so young. Oh, yes, young boys, William. The child's father, Dr. Greeny, rushes in. Excuse me, I've got to make a phone call. Any luck, Travers? Yes, complete success. I've discovered my earlier error. Within an empty room, Clark removes his outer garments, transforming himself into powerful Superman. Seizing the child, Superman leaps away from the hospital. I'll not harm him. What's this you've got with you? A child suffering from the purple plague. Quick, here's your opportunity to prove the new serum is a success. Superman stands anxiously by while Travers conducts the vital experiment. Not only this child's life, but many thousands more depend on the outcome of this operation. Look, the purple blotches are disappearing. Do you understand? It's a success. A success, I tell you. That's great. Later, as Travers returns the child to its anxious father. How do you think that I'm a fraud? Now do you think that I'm a fraud? I'll have you reinstated in the society at once, and your serum made available to all doctors. You're a great man, Travers. A great man. Returning to Ultra's stronghold, Superman confronts him. Superman! Back, or I'll blast you out of existence. Try it. The gun explodes in Ultra's face. Dead. Well, that finishes both the purple plague and the fiend who created it. Now, we know Ultra's not fucking dead, right? Ultra's mind control. Is he transferring his brain? Did they save Luthor's brain? So, what do we get out of this issue? We got a couple of names. We got a chemical corporation, which we could be using as a front. But again, is it so simple? So Clark doesn't get involved yet. He just kind of hangs back. Whatever you don't take your camera. Does he take the camera? Jimmy's camera can get destroyed there. Okay. So following Jimmy, Clark will end up at the old Blakelytown train station, which was abandoned during the Depression, with the final stop being the Forrester. Okay, all right, now we're rolling here. Being the Forrester Chemical Corporation, our version of Access Chemicals from Batman. from Gotham. We can even have our own Joker here. With the final stop being the Forrester Chemical Corporation, our version of Axis Chemicals, which is at the edge of town. You know, the industrial waste, the smoke coming from the factory. The chemical core provided a good amount of jobs, but now closed. So why is there smoke coming from the factory? Boom. We have a story. The tunnel from the roadhouse leads to the chemical factory. See, now that we're world building, we're starting to place all of our landmarks. There's nothing worse if you're world building where you forget where your shit is. So the idea is you end up with a Game of Thrones like season fucking 7 thing where you just kind of just get in a row. Send a raven. Okay, that takes 2 seconds. She's already dressed in her fucking winter clothes. She gets on the fucking dragon and goes to get there and flies halfway across the fucking world. And those guys aren't frozen to death. Man, Game of Thrones. I love Game of Thrones, but goddamn those final 2 seasons eat my dick. Anyway. Boom. Tunnel from route leads to the chemical factory, which is where we find the crypto pits. But now they have to get in. Clark can get in disguised as a gambler. Jimmy gets in with the kids. Kid gang. The kid gang, not gangs. Alright, let's get to our next page here. I like it. We're going page by page, baby. Page by page, we're laying out a beautiful story. We're getting into some fighting pits. Now remember, Clark can't necessarily make a move because remember, there's kryptonite being used. Now, to what extent? How much kryptonite are we talking about? A lot? A little bit? So now we really get into some fucking meat here, man. Because, all right, we have a flooded... We need some time lapse, though. All right, so we can time jump from the time they make a plan to when we have this whole undercover thing. So you could say after a week of this, after a week of sneaking around and covering... Okay, so now you get a little time lapse. You time lapse at about a week. Okay, good. So now, cut to Jimmy. So right over here at the thing. We time lapse about a week or so. Where Clark gets a tip from listening. Oh, from his super listening. His super hearing. He catches the kids, some of the kids in his building, talking about a big fight tonight, a big fight night. He will talk to Lois about the ethics, the ethical choices, the ethical choice of listening in on someone's on people's conversations. Most specifically, my own neighbors. Lois will Lois will tell Clark that they must make exceptions for the story. Lois has less scruples than Clark. But of course we already know that. So, we time-lapse about a week. Finally catch a hot tip from Clark's super hearing. So bang, bang, boom, Jimmy is the undercover guy. Good. Now we get to 25. Now we got to get into these fighting pits. So again, we followed it all the way out to the chemical factory. Now that the mine, the flooding of the mine, that whole story broke. That's about a week ago. That gives Lex and company enough time to get whatever they got out of there and start these fighting pits. But now we got to ask the question. Remember, as a writer, you're asking questions. Writing your stories, you have to fanboy on yourself, put yourself on the other side of it, and ask questions. Ask constant questions. Big, fanboy, annoying questions. So how does it work? How does somebody ingest the crypto? Do they fucking break it open and shoot a little fucking gas in front of them? How does it work? Does it explode in their face? No, welcome to the crypto pits. Whoever it is knows about Krypton, knows about Brainiac. Okay, so we're talking about the crypto drug here. This is where they're going to discover the crypto drug. Ultra Humanite, the Brainiac minion, will tell Clark of his origins on Krypton, where their planet was destroyed for not sharing their knowledge. Brainiac will, of course, have the dominant narrative of this story. Clark won't really know the truth until a later movie. Fuck that shit. He shouldn't learn now. This is about his Metropolis life. You can tell him, like, your planet was destroyed by Brain because they wouldn't share their knowledge. You don't see the shrunken city. We can, again, that's sequel shit. That's sequel bait. He can even show him the city of Kandor. You were born in a city called Kandor. You are the last of your kind. I need your DNA to build a new race of superhuman, of supermen, who will carry my flag across the planet, across the galaxy, across the universe, the galaxy, the whole fucking thing. So, the Brainiac cult could be run by Ultra, and at the end, when they are wiped out, at least this planet's contingent, Lex Luthor will take it over, actually understanding some of Ultra's points. So the swerve will be that Lex isn't the real villain of this story, but we are setting him up that way. See, we now have a challenge. Our challenge is to make a bit of a swerve so that while Lex has his morals and his ways, he's not the villain of the story. It'll be Ultra. Ultra Humanite is a minion of Brainiac. The same way Scarecrow is like a minion of the League of Shadows. Like, Ultra could be with all those rich fuckers. Like, he could be like the one mind controlling them. You know, because I believe that Ultra, if I remember my fucking Superman fucking mythology, pretty sure Ultra Humanite, he just died in this latest issue that we read. And I'm pretty sure he transfers his conscience to other people. Let's read another issue, because now I'm really feeling this Ultra Humanite as the real bad guy story, the minion of Brainiac. He's like a fucking robot, fucking human, whatever the fuck he is. We can even introduce him in this fucking scene. He could be there running the whole fucking shebang, man. He could be on a screen. Like, right now, we're in the crypto pits, man. We are in a good part of our story. We're in a fun part of our fucking script here. We are in the crypto pit. So now what happens? Now we got to get the next thing here. Let's read another issue. Let's read another fucking issue. Let's have a good fucking time. Having a good fucking time. Fucking Sunday. Ordered some Chinese food. Living life. With an ominous creaking and snapping, the metal supports of an elevated railway commence to give away. But before the train above can crash to its ruin, a weird costumed figure streaks forward, holds the massive structure erect with his bared hands until the train traverses the safety, then springs out of view before amazed onlookers can stammer questions. Shortly after, Superman, savior of the helpless and oppressed, plummets down from the sky into the protecting darkness of an alley. And there, donning civilian garments, is transformed into the meek Daily Star ace reporter Clark Kent, and how to get that story into print before rival reporters scoop me. Later in the managing editor's office. Remember, Chief, you promised me a vacation for my next scoop. I'll have to amend that to a vacation mixed with business. Take a train to Hollywood and send back some movie news. And thus does it occur that 2 days later, Clark finds himself within the movie capital. This is my press card. Will you permit me to enter now? That's different. Step right in. Clark joins a group of visitors being guided about the sets. Quiet now. If you're silent, you'll be permitted to watch a filming of a scene starring Dolores Winters. Ooh, we now have an actress. Detected only by Clark's telescopic vision is an intended assassin. Seizing a trailing rope down from the scaffold, Clark jerks, and the assassin careens downward. Look out! If it hadn't been for you, come on, you, get him out of here. I owe my life to you. Can I have a thank you? By permitting me to interview you. You see, I'm a newspaper reporter. Then I'll expect you to call on me tomorrow night. Next evening. But I tell you, Miss Winters invited me to drop in, and sorry, she's not seeing you or anyone. You must have misunderstood her. She said I can interview her, and that's what I'm going to do. Stop! You cannot enter. What is the trouble? This fool reporter, he insisted I had an appointment with you. Perhaps you'll set him straight, Miss Winters. I'm not the slightest bit interested in being interviewed, and so good evening. That evening as Clark retires. I'll save her life. She slams the door in my fucking face. It doesn't make sense. Females are a puzzle. Movie queens in particular. Extra! Dolores Winters to retire from the screen. I'll take one. So she's going to blow a big farewell party on her yacht tomorrow night. Well, I'm not interested. I'll just forget she ever existed. That night, laughing and joking, a gay crowd composed of leading movie actors, writers, directors, and producers loudly climb aboard the Sea Serpent for a huge send-off party. Tell us, Dolores, why are you quitting the screen? Why, you love your work so much, it's strange you'd walk out. It's really quite simple. Money was my goal. I've achieved enough of it, and so I'm quitting. As more time passes, the party grows more and more gay. These guys are just fucking each other in the ass, thus permitting Dolores to slip away unnoticed. Lift anchor, shove off, right away. Look, we're moving out to sea. Huh? Let me see. What's the idea, Dolores? I haven't time for a cruise. No? Well, nevertheless, you're going on one. At that moment, several machine-gun-armed men step in and cover the guests. What is this, a joke? If it is, it's only a poor one. It's certainly a poor one. All you will kindly raise your hands. I get it. This is a novel stunt to liven up the party. I warn you, stand back. Boom! She shoots the motherfucker. She shot him down in cold blood. And if you others don't behave, you'll get the same medicine. Shipload of celebrities unexpectedly vanishes. Next morning, daily headlines. It's just been learned that a regular crew above the Sea Serpent was fired by Miss Winters. just before the yacht's disappearance. This is a most puzzling affair. Aboard the missing yacht, hand me that microphone where I can broadcast a message that'll startle the world. Attention world! Dolores Winters broadcasting from the Sea Serpent. On board my vessel I held captive some of the wealthiest people alive, and if their relatives wish to see them again, they'll have to pay. Plenty. Oof. So Dolores' ransom demands total to $5 million. This is the greatest mass kidnapping ever attempted. That evening, as Clark strolls towards Colossal Film Studio, it was announced tonight secret instructions on how to deliver the ransom money would be revealed to the studio manager. I'd like to know that information myself. But you can see from my press card that I'm a newspaper correspondent. I don't care if you're the king of fucking Siam. You couldn't enter tonight. Sorry. Those are my orders. Retiring to an alley, Clark removes his outer garments, revealing himself clad as Superman. It's time Superman went into action. Get going, I tell you. No one's entering the studio tonight. Don't you say. They say there's an exception to every rule, and in this case, it's me. He landed behind that building. Get him! Hearing the guards approaching, Superman takes a terrific leap that carries him far out of view. I haven't played hide-and-go-seek in years, but it's still a lot of fun. What? No sight of him. Where is he, Jim? If you ask me, Jim was seeing things out of his own imagination. He's doing the cocaine, he's telling you. He's doing the cocaine. Superman, a veritable human fly, swiftly scales the side of the studio's administration building. Within the studio manager's office, I wish that ransom message would hurry and come. I'm rapidly going daffy. The manager's apprehension would have increased could he have seen the fantastic figure regarding him from outside his window. I found my man. Now to enter the adjoining room. What? It materialized right out of the empty air. It's from Dolores. She says, as Superman concentrates, his vision pierces through the room's walls, enabling him to read the message over the studio head's shoulder. Place $5 million within the buoy near the central lighthouse at 12 o'clock midnight. So here you are. I knew I wasn't imagining things. You haven't got me yet. Get him! He's climbing towards the roof! As Superman reaches the roof, waiting guards close in. So long, boys. Better luck next time. Superman's figure sails out into the night until it is engulfed in darkness and disappears from view. Did you see that? He whizzed away like a rocket. We must all be dreaming. Later that night, near the central lighthouse, just a few minutes before midnight. Here goes. A motorboat speeds through the water across the lighthouse. $5 million ransom. Our girl's mad to demand such a fantastic sum. But what can we do? As Superman sights the approaching motorboat, he ducks underwater to await further developments. A buoy is dropped into the water from the motorboat. From under the water, Superman observes the boat turn and leave. 15:30. 45 minutes elapse while the Man of Tomorrow remains underwater awaiting developments. Can it be that note was a hoax? When it begins to appear, that Superman is in for a fruitless wait. A submarine heaves into view. A ray shoots from out the submarine, engulfs the buoy. And then the buoy and ransom money, attracted by the magnetic ray, are drawn within the vessel's interior. As the undersea craft moves off, Superman swims after it. Overtaking it, he climbs aboard, then clinging to its side, travels along with it towards an unknown destination. Dude, this is so Thunderball, man. On continues the sub as minutes pass into hours. 2 hours since they scooped the buoy. Where in the world are we heading for? The enigma is answered as the submarine commences to enter an underwater cavern. Loosing his hold on the craft, Superman swims into the cavern at the sub's wake. Emerging within the airfield cavern, Superman climbs onto a ledge and regards the scene from hiding. Perhaps I'll soon know the answer to it all. Any results? Yes, we've got the buoy. The wealth-laden buoy is lowered into the cavern. Now that you have your ransom money, will you let us all go at once? Don't be fools. I never intended to release you alive. These helmets on your heads are attached to a control board. A fling of this switch, my gullible ones, and you are all electrocuted. Let go of that switch, cunt! Superman! You'll never reach me in time. Carrying off a huge stalagmite, Superman throws it straight and true at the switchboard. It alights amidst smashed wires. Dolores closes the switch. Why don't you die? Because he broke the electrical connection. And now, you vixen, I shall give you a lesson you'll never forget. Snatching a lighted torch from the walls, Dolores waves it towards the faces of her captives. Back, or I'll burn their faces to a crisp. No, I believe you'd do it, you whore. Superman has a sudden burst of intuition. Those evil blazing eyes. There's only one person on the earth who could possess them. Ultra! You are perceptive indeed, Superman. You thought you had killed me in our last encounter, didn't you? But look, as you can see, I'm very much alive. But I saw you die myself. My assistants, finding my body, revived me via adrenaline. However, it was clear that my recovery could only be temporary. And so, following my instructions, they kidnapped Dolores Winters yesterday and placed my mighty brain in her young vital body. No stitches? Fucking lying cocks. It appears that we're deadlocked. Either you leave or I'll scorch the Earth captives at once. Abruptly, Superman summons all the power in his powerful lungs and blows out the torch from where he stands. You blew it out. And here's where I end your fiendish career of crime. You'll have to catch me first. You won't get away this time. But Superman, once underwater, finds no trace of Ultra. He must have as many lives as a cat. Returning to the surface, Superman finds the prison has overcome their guards. Now raise them. Nice work. You can now enter the submarine and return to land safely. I guess I'll no longer have any need for me. Wait! I'll give you a fortune to star in the movies. Sorry, not interested. When Clark returns to Metropolis and reports back to his editor, you go on vacation and secure a great scoop. And that's what I call being a fine newspaperman. Well, it's the end of a swell vacation and the interesting news story. But is it the end? Did Ultra escape? If so, where will he continue his evil career? Only the future can tell. Well, well, well. We have hit Action Comics number 21. As always, you know, sponsored by the new Pharaoh's Lounge Kickstarter. We are currently at 13,000. I'm trying to get to 14,000. If you're watching, buy yourself a new comic book. Buy yourself the new Harley book. Buy yourself something. All right, back to our story real quick. As I'm enjoying my Sunday cannabis and working on our writing class. Just want to check my lineups real quick because it's just something I do. It's just something I do. I guess we're winning a lousy $20. All right, we released a missions award. Isn't that fucking wonderful? Isn't that great? Isn't God great? Sorry. Even as a wonderful professor of writing, I, like everyone else, have my flaws. No, not even contest I'm winning. I'm just winning there. All right, well, isn't that lovely? All right, what do we get out of this story? We got more Ultra Humanite. Ultra Humanite can now transfer his consciousness. I mean, they said that they put his brain into her fucking body, but it's bullshit. I mean, she's got no fucking stitches on her head. Come on. I thought it was like more of like a mind meld kind of thing, but again, we have more people for our universe, our world building. Actress, possible Bond girl, maybe later on, Dolores Winters. Colossal, what was it? Colossal Film Studios. You never know. She could be part of the cult. Okay. Jimmy, we need pictures of the people running this cult. Right now we just got a fighting pit, maybe some minion that's there, maybe another gangster, Shylocks. They could all be there. So what do we do? Who is the owner of the chemical corporation? Corporation. Is Ultra going to kill all the rich people? Or has he controlled their minds, a la Brainiac? Or are they just rich scumbags? We're going to read one more issue, and then we're going to take a break, and that'll end today's class because I'm hungry and I'm tired, and 3 issues is a lot of goddamn reading. I can't look at this. Get my ass kicked today. Fucking baseball, football, the whole fucking thing. Anyway, back to work here. Last issue, and then we'll get our writing out. We did a lot today. We got a lot done. We're in the crypto pits, and now we just got to get from the crypto pits and develop our story from there. That's where we are in our script. As he walked towards the Daily Star, Clark Kent, ace reporter, sights the side of a building collapsing. Swiftly, he tosses the pedestrians near him to safety, but is buried beneath the debris himself. Look, emerged unharmed. It's short of nothing miraculous. That was close. Of course, they don't suspect that I'm Superman and cannot be injured by a mere explosion. Follow me to the first aid treatment. Clark follows the young man into the partially demolished building. That's odd, you haven't a scratch. I see you have a well-equipped laboratory. Could you possibly have anything to do with... You guessed that the explosion was my fault, but it was entirely accidental. Let's have the details. My name is Terry Curtis. For some time I've been on the track of harnessing atomic energy. Today, in the midst of my experimentation, there came a terrific explosion. It looks like I'm upon the point of discovering a weapon that can destroy any matter it was leveled at. I suggest in the future be more careful to destroy yourself or innocent parties. When Clark reaches the Daily Star office. And that's the true story of what caused the explosion this morning. This will make a swell front-page story. At a distant spot, Ultra, who had miraculously survived her last encounter with Superman, reads the article with an interest. An atomic disintegrator. If I had that in my possession, nothing could stop me. Nothing! That evening, as Clark Curtis strolls through a park for relaxation, what seems to be the trouble? This cat, caught in the picket fence. I'm trying to free the poor thing. Let me help you. It's free! Half an hour later, the two have become very well acquainted. I'm so interested in your work on this atomic disintegrator. Won't you tell me more about it? I'll tell you more about it when we get together tomorrow night. Same place, same time. You fool. You'll see me again tomorrow night, but in a most unexpected manner. Next evening, Clark again visits the young scientist. So your experiments are well advanced. Tell me, why are you suddenly so interested in your appearance? Because I'm to meet the loveliest girl tonight. She resembles the actress, Dolores Winters. After Clark departs. What are you doing here? How did you find the place? Never mind. The fact is, I'm here. Aren't you pleased? But later, as Dolores attempts to steal a copy of Curtis' plans. Put down that paper, you whore. What do you mean? Don't pretend innocence. I saw you steal those papers from the table. What's your game? Come in, men. Okay, Ultra. Shortly later, atop the building, Ultra forces Curtis into a fantastic autogyro and wings out into the night. An autogyro. So Dolores Winters could be our Bond villain girl. She could be hooked up with Ultra. The Ultra-Humanite. Dolores, of course, will be a pawn and get killed. Clark could spot her watching the fights, and of course, being the one who seems to have close contact with the fighters. So Clark will use his charm and pretend to be a gambler. To try and woo Dolores. And that doesn't work. Maybe Lois woos her. Either way, Dolores works for Ultra, who will be bald and secretive so as to give the impression that it's Lex Luthor. Dolores is definitely part of the cult. Alright, so we got that. Now we got some info. Wait, I forgot about the autogyro. I love those old school fucking vehicles and devices. Autogyro. Alright. It's occurred to me that this girl resembling Dolores might possibly be Ultra. Fucking smart guy, Superman. I may be wrong, but I must warn Curtis at once. When he enters Curtis' laboratory, ransacked and deserted, within Ultra's stronghold, you will continue to work here, either conclude your experiments within a week or die. I won't do it. I'll do anything you say after several hours persuasion. Oh, dude, she definitely fingers his butthole. I'll do anything you say. Turn off that light. The torture ray never fails. A week elapses. I wonder what became of Terry Curtis. What's wrong? I can't understand it. A mysterious voice from out of nowhere is breaking into the broadcast and demanding a fantastic sum from the city. Within her hideaway, Ultra is broadcasting a strange message to the city of Metropolis. Hear me, 2 million is to be delivered, or else I will destroy your city, and every living soul in it. As a sample of my power, I will destroy the Wentworth Tower at 2 p.m. this afternoon. Alright, so we have more world building. Wentworth Tower. Wentworth Tower could be the other point. Wentworth Tower and Forrester Chemical Corp are the 2 pinpoints of the old train line that ran through Blakely. Blakelytown. So the idea is we're showing, like, you're seeing Dolores with the fighters, you know what I mean? So they're going to watch a fight. Jimmy's going to be in there with the kids. He's going to see the kids kind of pushing him around. Maybe like, hey, come on, Jimmy, you should do it. Come on, Jimmy, get in there. And, like, you know, Clark will have to get in there and kind of, like, stop things. Or kill the lights. Something's got to go down. But again, kryptonite will be in play. Different kind of kryptonite could be in play, too. I like this. Okay, so Clark's got to charm Dolores. They watch some fights as kids or teens or adults gather to fight one-on-one. Dolores brings out the fighters, and each one takes a gasp. It has to be something cool. It's a tiny sliver of colored rock, each one a different color. The fighter, oh, I love this. Each fighter chooses a color. Basically, it's a mystery. It's a mystery pull. Like Russian roulette. Oh, fuck yes! Like Russian roulette. Not roulette. Roulette. Each sliver is then smashed in front of the fighter, and the fighter inhales it. Space rock drugs, basically. Steroids. Each inhalation will cause a different effect. Super speed, super strength, sometimes tripping. Either way, we see the first fight of the Crypto Pits. I love this. I love this. I love this. So where do we go with it? Now we have our Bond villain chick. We got this Dolores Winters. You know, when the movie business dried up. Dolores Winters. You know, Jimmy could be snapping some secret pics. Jimmy snapping pics. I like where we're going with this, man. Muggsy, Marchetti, the Dragon, the Baronto. Oh yeah, what was her ship was called? The Sea Serpent. Okay, so the crypto pits. See, our first fight in the crypto pits. So then they have to make a plan. I don't think Clark can't smash anything up. Okay. Let's add another page here. So now we are as far as page 26. Now again, it might go further and further, but this is just how we lay out our beats. We jump a beat for every panel page. And this is how we write a story. I hope you enjoy Professor Kane's writing class. Crypto. All right, so they take the picks back to the planet where they have to make a new plan. Lois says, Lois IDs Dolores Winters, the fading actress, now taking slumming gigs with the movie business drying up in Metropolis. She is throwing a party on her ship, on her vessel, the Sea Serpent. Lois will have the invitation, and of course bring Clark along. That is where Clark will seduce Dolores, which will lead to her death once she reveals, either accidentally or willingly, which leads to her death, being picked off. Dolores will tell Clark about the pickup at sea, which is why they are using the Sea Serpent, or the Baronta. What do we want to name the ship? Clark will witness the pickup, but almost drown because, again, it's kryptonite. Or it's a black rock that gets exposed, and that makes him trip out. Whichever color kryptonite gets him, makes him hallucinate. Which, can lead, to him being kidnapped on the ship, on the boat. We can have that then. Maybe Lois can save his ass. Maybe Lois isn't even around when this fucking happens. I mean, we could just jump right into the next thing where we have the reveal, or it's revealed with a secret window. So now we're stuck next. The idea is you want to write to a point where you just get stuck. And then you say, okay, it's a fun book. Now it's a wall that's up, and I got to bust through that wall and answer your next series of questions. Java Color Kryptonite makes him hallucinate. He could trip balls. They could be going to a ship. She's having a party. They go to the party. The party, of course, is them having to pick up some of the crypto that's gotten washed out to sea because of the flood, which he can turn up and uncover, which, of course, does that bust open? Because, again, you could think he's trying to seduce her, but she's there to trick him. The suit. The suit can be something that Lex... Can Lex save him? Does Lex save his ass? Let's read a little and see what we get. Okay. The Wentworth Tower. Swiftly, Clark changes into his Superman uniform. I've got to halt that mad woman, then vaults out over the city, to perch above atop a skyscraper near the great Wentworth Tower. A few more moments and it'll be the fatal hour. Exactly 2 o'clock, a strange airship appears over the Wentworth Tower. As a ray from it engulfs the massive edifice, the tower commences to crumble down towards the horrified specters below. Down streaks... What happened? We went white here. Oh, did we just get frozen here? What happened? Sorry, technical difficulties. Please stand by. Okay, here we go. Down streaks Superman's figure towards the far distant street. Striking the earth, he seizes the huge bulk of the tower and holds it erect while the terrified spectators surge back. Only when the streets are cleared does Superman permit the mighty tower to collapse. A terrific leap launches the Man of Tomorrow into the sky in pursuit of the Fantastic Eight. Remember, he don't fly yet. He's still leaping. I'll overtake them in a few seconds. Within the skyship, someone pursuing us. It's Superman. I'll give him a taste of the disintegrator. Out stabs a destructive ray towards Superman's figure, but the Man of Steel twists aside, eluding it. As Superman strikes the earth, he sees the vessel swooping down towards him. Disintegrator aimed directly towards him. Oh shit. Seizing a huge boulder, Superman hurls it up into the air so that it smashes into the disintegrator, destroying it. Its major weapon destroyed, the airship turns tail and flees with Superman in pursuit. Unnoticed, Superman alights atop the plane. Now to make myself comfortable and take this ship behind me and take the Fiend behind this within Ultra's hideaway. So, the Man of Steel expects to surprise me, eh? Well, the surprise may be on him. The plane descends within an extinct volcano's crater and enters a glass-sheathed city. Oh, what the hell's going on here? What the? Huge metal robots? What a reception! My little pets will make short work of Superman. Springing at the robots, Superman tears and smashes them together, wrecking them completely. What I'd like is some real opposition. Upon besting the robots, Superman leaps to the balcony of a nearby tower. Ultra, stay back. You better obey your friend here. Why should I stop? She's rigged up a photoelectric beam across the room. If you break it, the city of Metropolis will be automatically destroyed. You see, Superman, you've met your match. Now go while you can. I came for Curtis, and I refuse to leave without him. I'll make you a deal, Superman. I want the valuable crown jewels guarded within the Reynolds building. Get them for me, and I'll release young Curtis. I'll do it. Departing upon his quest, Superman leaps out of the crater's heart. Some task, but I've got to perform it to save Curtis. Officials of Metropolis, here's interesting news for you. Superman is going to attempt to steal the crown jewels from the Reynolds building. I thought you might be interested. I don't understand. First, you dispatch Superman to get the jewels for you. Then you warn others that he's coming for them. It'll be interesting to observe what occurs when the Man of Steel meets their resistance. Back towards Metropolis, races Superman at a rate of speed that would outdistance an express train. Meanwhile, aroused by the Ultra's broadcast, the National Guard as well as the police force assemble at the Reynolds building. He'll never get the jewels. First, he'll have to kill every man here. My gosh, it looks like as though the entire city has turned out to welcome me. I don't wish to harm any of you, and so I suggest you offer no resistance. Come down from there. A cannon is aimed at the Man of Steel. Fired! And down to earth topples shattered telephone pole and the Man of Tomorrow. We've got him this time, so it appears. I've got to act fast. How's that? What in the fuck? Leaping to the Reynolds building, Superman commences to clamber up the side like an arthropod. I wish you'd stop shooting bullets at me. I'm ticklish. What the? Once the Superman's outflung arm seizes a ledge, he draws himself up to safety. Once again, he resumes his upward journey. I guess they don't care for my company. Heave-ho! This ought to stop 'em. They must think it's Christmas the way they keep tossing gifts around. Down hurtles the safe into Superman's hands. A heave of his wrist, and the ponderous safe flies up through the air. Right back. Holy cat scatter. Hello, folks. I'll finish you in short order. Mustn't do it, huh? Keep back, all of you, or your command is liable to find it a long drop to the street. Do as he says, you fools! As the guardsmen fall back, Superman deposits their commander safely upon the roof. Then, next time, be careful for whom you attack with a bayonet. Launches himself down through the nearby skylight, and down into the room with which the crown jewels are stored. It's him, expecting me. Wheeling upon the huge nearby safe, Superman rips it open as though it were a toy. Disregarding tear gas and rapid-fire machine guns, Superman battles his way to the crown jewels. Ah, here you are. Stop him! Just try it. As Superman's figure emerges from the building, waiting airplanes sloop towards him, firing full blast. But Superman outmaneuvers and loses them amidst the fleecy clouds. Shortly thereafter, the Man of Steel's figure descends down into the volcano's crater and into the glass-sheathed city. Here are the crown jewels, you bitch, and here's your reward. Diamond drills, so it's a double cross, eh? A surge of powerful abdominal muscles, and the diamond jewels' hardest substance on Earth are shattered. No, you didn't! Give me that disintegrator. Oh! Let me go. If I can reach that switch, the city of Metropolis will be destroyed. That's why you'll never reach it. Superman disintegrates the photoelectric cell connections. That amends to you for now, Ultra. As Superman leaps across the room, Ultra tears open a glass-sheeted window and leaps down into the volcano's crater. Now to destroy the devilish apparatus. Shortly thereafter, with Curtis under his arm, Superman leaps to the rim of the crater. There he raises and throws the huge boulders into the volcano's heart. If I can only awaken the slumbering volcano fires. And as the glass sheet city is destroyed in a devastating eruption, Superman and his burden leap clear. And back toward Metropolis speed the two. When they reach the city's edge, it all seems to have been a terrible nightmare. Well, leave it at that. Forget you ever succeeded in disrupting the atom. Farewell. The Spectre. Who is he? What is he? A startling new and really different feature written by Jerry Siegel, author of Superman and drawn by Bernard Bailey. The Spectre starts in the February issue of More Fun Comics. Don't fucking miss it. Alright, well, what do we get with that issue? More Ultra Humanite. He's kind of a badass villain. He fucks with Superman. He gets away. So I'm thinking we got to bring Ultra Humanite into this fucking story. Maybe even bring him in right now. What we have is Dolores seducing Clark and pulling out a black slither of rock, which she smashes and makes Clark hallucinate. We can either have him captured and experimented on by Ultra Humanite, who is behind a glass partition a la Ernst Stavro Blofeld, and implied that it's Lex because they will have similar balding features. They drill on him, shoot at him, and try everything until realizing he is the one they have been looking for. Oh, shit. So, Dolores... Oh, we got this shit going right here. See, this is why we read the stories. It triggers a response. We get moving. We get excited. We get excited. We get excited. Music is extremely... Now, again... This is in terms of just trying to lay out the story. It could end up being longer. We can end up moving a scene all the way to the back. We can end up, this is too short. We want to stretch it out more. But again, this is how we lay out our stories. How we lay out our story. Okay. We have him captured here. Boom. He's behind the glass partition. And this is where Ultra Humanite is just laying out his fucking origin. He is the one they have been looking for. So you are the Kryptonian. I mean, bang, he goes to this fucking gambling pit and boom, he's captured. Or he's more like he's seduced. He explains Brainiac, the whole fucking thing. We're doing good here, ladies and gentlemen. We are laying out a fucking Superman story. I am the Ultra Humanite. I am Ultra. So we have this here. No. Ultra's points. Two focal points here. This is how we write a Superman story. I'm not sure how Matt Reeves does it. This is how I do it. Auto gyro vehicle. We can have fucking Ultra Humanite just fucking him up right here. And you could show off all the rich people here in that fucking circle. Just Superman tied down. They're just fucking dropping fucking things on him. This can be an entire montage. An entire montage of the rich fucking with Clark. Entire montage of the rich fucking with Clark. And expositioning his... an exposition of his origin. Either they... I think they should all be... They are all a cult. And working for Brainiac, the hive mind. All the rich we have been talking about from the story, from Lois's hit list. Rich, the Shylock, Senator, our own makeshift court of owls. They believe with their city at its lowest point, this is when and where Brainiac is supposed to show up. And Clark is their sacrifice to bring Brainiac to them for salvation and evolution. Oh, I like this. We have old school technology. The thing is, how does Clark get out of it? Because this is more of a climactic thing. And Lex could save his ass. Because again, you're implying that this is Lex Luthor. Again, we're laying out our story. So I'm not going this far yet with the Lex Luthor reveal. These are more notes about Lex, connecting Lex. Senator Hastings, gossip columnist Gene Powers. Professor Henry Travers. They could fuck with him and then just kind of like ditch him. But no, because they want to cut him up. They all have to get wiped out by the end of the story. And then Lex will come in with the knowledge, whatever they've collected. We want to swerve here. We want to bring an Ultra Humanite as our enemy. But of course, Ultra Humanite is a Brainiac minion. So that's what we've gotten out of this today. Is the idea of not just merging the whole Ultra Humanite Lex Luthor into one character, actually making them separate characters and doing a swerve. We want to set up a swerve here. They could fuck with Clark. Or maybe not yet. Maybe Clark probes Dolores for info. Because we don't have to lay it out here yet. Unless we want to just dive right into it, they get him, capture him, fuck with him, leave him for dead, or she could report back. I mean, you could show Ultra watching the people, the fighters in the pits, and also the party goers on the yacht. It throws a yacht party. There was a yacht party in Metropolis Harbor. So now we're in a bit of a... We've hit our wall here. Not a wall, but remember, these are good walls. Because I don't know if we want to go right into him. They go on the boat. Because again, we're in the fighting pits. They spot Dolores there. Some crazy shit's going on. People are fighting. So we want to get it to... We've gotten to the crypto pits, where I like. In terms of succinct, that's where we've gotten. So now we got to get from these crypto pits to a yacht where Clark's going to go and try and seduce Dolores, who's working for Ultra. The Ernst Stavro Blofeld, our Spectre, all that crazy shit going on here. Unless Luthor just removes Ultra Humanite and takes his spot. By the end of this story, we want Lex Luthor taking Ultra's place. So we like that. The swerve. We've established that we want to swerve. Now we could take a break here, but it's 6 o'clock. Well, let's do one more story. How are we feeling? We feeling good today? We feeling good? Feeling strong? We feeling strong? We feeling wild? We feeling good? Should we do one more issue of Superman? Are we feeling good about reading one more? Let's do one more. Let's do one more issue of Superman. Do it. leaping over skyscrapers, running fast in an express train, springing great distances and heights, lifting and smashing tremendous weights, possessing an impenetrable skin. These are the amazing attributes which Superman, champion of the helpless and oppressed, avails himself of as he battles the forces of good, of evil, and injustice. All right, we're going to read one more issue, and then we'll take a break. I'm kind of enjoying myself. And I want to see what I can think about as we're stuck at this little spot here on the storyline. Yes. All right. New pledge. We're 13-4. Good for you. Okay. The armed battalions of Turan unexpectedly swooped down upon a lesser nation, Galonia. All right. Our world building. We're just going to take some notes. We now have the crypto pits. We got to get to our Bond girl. We have some more characters that are up in the air now. Now we got to try and align it into our plot. Professor Henry Travers, who's the one that's doing the experimentation. I mean, you can get really, really deep into it if you want to go along a bigger plot. I think we're trying to write a movie here. Kid Town for rehabilitated kids. Getting high off kryptonite. Now we put all this in here. I'm going to erase some of these. Gimpy. The wall smash. The go-to move, the old wall smash. Treating, destroying. Some of these notes we can erase. Ramshackle Hotel, Gangsta Big Boy Cheney. Destroying legitimate business fronts. Actually, no, I like that because you can have them fucking with him here. I haven't ruled out the idea that Ultra fucks with him. That maybe they catch him here. Right now, I either have it as they're on the boat where they see a fucking... But why would they have a party with a pickup there? That wouldn't make any fucking sense. Unless Dolores throws the party so they can pick it up. Alright, so I'm still confused on where I want to go with that yet. Right now, the progress that we've shown is that we've gotten to the crypto fighting pits. We've seen two fighters get in there, bust up some fucking little tiny sliver of crypto. They kind of slice a little sliver. It smashes, kind of goes into like a hookah, like a fucking drug, kind of blasts them in the face like a shotgun blast. And then one gets like super speed, one gets super strength, and everybody bets on the fight. Right? So we have that. That's where we've gotten to. We're in the crypto pits. We're going to read this issue, and we're going to take a break. Galonia and Turan, two rival nations, or regions, or kingdoms around Metropolis. Remember, we are world building, our fictional world here. Europe at war. Editorial Office of the Daily Star. Clark, Lois, I want you both to go to the Luxor at once as war correspondents. Swell. I was hoping for a vacation for a long time. Go to Luxor. Ooh. If you have a chance to enjoy it in between ducking bombs, you'll be lucky. And so when the stream of Baronta, we're back on the Baronta, sets out to sea, Lois and Clark are passengers aboard. I wonder if we should ever refuse this assignment. It's liable to prove dangerous. Why do they have to send this wet blanket along to ruin my perfect adventure? That exotic woman, she appears pretty with the male passengers. I wonder who she is. Her name? Leda Laverne, famous foreign actress. Used this vessel rather frequently. Later. So, once again, the world is being flung into a terrible conflagration. How senseless. Oops, I beg your pardon. Clumsy lout. No doubt she prefers the captain to me. Must be his uniform. Clark is startled when his telescopic vision detects a shadow figure aiming a revolver at Lita from the vessel's upbringing. Snatching a belaying pin, Clark lets it fly straight and true. Bullseye. I saw your swift action. I owe you my life. He just literally let that guy die. Clark was a killer back in the day. Glad to have been assistance. I'm a reporter. Mind telling me why anyone should want to take a shot at you? Frankly, I don't know. Later, as Clark strolls along the deck, maybe she doesn't, and maybe she does. A flashlight in the captain's cabin. Lithely, Clark races towards a porthole. What in... Ooh. Oh, God, tell her she's going to get naked and just flagellate herself now. If that gal's won the up and up, I miss my guess. And I always thought an ocean voyage would be romantic. I'm bored sick. Uneventful, eh? If only you knew. You must come to my manor tonight. I'm holding a delightful reception when the Baronta docks in Toran. I'll be there. Later at his hotel. Now to hop down to the Foreign Ministry and pick up some juicy news. What's the idea? No admittance? How am I going to get an interview? That's your problem. Sorry, but orders are orders. Tell me, you news hawks, what's the tight censorship? As we can get is a censored press release. All you have to be a magician to get past those doors. Leader. Miss Laverne, she snubbed you cold. Well, she wasn't so unfriendly last time I saw her. We're going to have the reception night and look into this. As they drive towards Laverne Manor that night. I suppose you'll stick so close to Miss Laverne I won't catch a sight of you all night. Small chance. We'll be lucky if she even admits us. Mr. Kent, I'm so delighted to see you, and I was afraid you would not come. Huh? Say, why doesn't she make up her mind whether or not she cares to have anything to do with me? Come with me. I have so much to say to you. You have. And now that we're alone, tell me about yourself. There's not much to say, Then tell me about the great nations. You think they are in sympathy with Turan's invasion of Galonia? Now she's getting down to business. The democracies are definitely opposed to aggressor nations. Any more questions? You must excuse me as hostess. I must look after my guests. Surely. So she's already found someone else to pump. There's no doubt of it. That girl's a spy. So you are here. Sorry to have left you, Lois, but I won't do any explanations for you. I'm leaving. But Lois, at that moment, high above the city, an invading aviator looses several bombs. The city is being bombed. Adhering to his false attitude of cowardly, Clark dives for a cover on the nearby table. Swiftly he streaks from the manor, and once outside, his observed changes the dynamic Superman costume. Superman acts. Up towards the bomber streaks Superman's figure. How in the... Directly at the fantastic figure swoops towards the fighting plane. Out flashes Superman's hand. Seizing the top of the racing plane, he pulls it himself up top of it. Mind if I catch a hike? If I don't watch out, one of those anti-aircraft shells will get me. He's clinging to the plane. I gotta throw him off. Up tilts the plane's nose in perpendicular climb. What is this, the bucking bronco? The plane turns towards a complete backward somersault, but fails to dislodge the tenacious grip of the man of steel. Primed grimly, the weird figure crawls forward, battling the pressure of a tearing wind. Another few feet. My gosh, he's reached a wing! Superman stretches his hand out towards one of the whirling propellers. Abruptly, the plane... What? As the plane abruptly lurches, down drops the Man of Steel's body toward the distant Earth. He strikes Earth, unhurt. So you haven't had enough, eh? As the machine gun bullets bounce off Superman, the airplane tilts its nose for an upward climb. Stick around. It's Superman. Say your prayers. Smash. Wait. Autographs. He's just smashing fucking planes with the pilot still in him. Taking advantage of the excitement, Lita slips away, unaware that she is regarded by Superman from above. Dunno what she's up to, but I'll tag along. Swiftly, Lita makes her way to the Foreign Ministry. You may pass, Agent T-21. A great leap carries Superman unseen over the heads of the guards. Lita, an army and an official countering. I'm sure I heard a sound. Someone coming. I know where you're hiding out there. Come out. Hands raised or I'll shoot. That's odd. No one around. But I was certain I heard someone. Woof, that was close. And within the room below, Superman overhears. And so you see the neutral line of Calcutta was to be torpedoed by the enemy. The sympathy of democracy would be on our side. I've already followed your suggestion and dispatched orders to submarine Y-263. In 15 minutes, the Calcutta will be at the bottom of the ocean. Promptly, Superman streaks toward the sea. Not an instant to lose. Shortly later, he swims through the ocean at an unbelievable speed. Thousands of lives depend on whether I reach the Calcutta on time. Meanwhile, the Y-263 sights the steamer slated for destruction. Fire! As the deadly torpedo streaks towards the Calcutta, a slight figure swims between it and its victim. Superman. Directly into the Man of Steel's arms heads the metallic instrument of death. Come to Papa. Down we go. Down, down, Superman. Superman rides the unusual steed until they drift to a halt. I've got to act quickly before they launch another attack. Right back. Boom! Dude, Superman just blew up a fucking submarine. Unseen. Superman climbs above the Calcutta. Superman kills a lot of fucking people. But as he reaches the rail, his X-ray eyes sight another danger ahead. The steamer is headed directly toward a concealed mine. Tearing the lifeboat from its moorings, Superman leaps atop a cabin. As the lifeboat strikes the mine, there is a deafening explosion. Wait, some questions we want answered. Consult professors. Consult Professor Quiz, right? What? Right now I have a little errand to fulfill. A Turanian council of war is interrupted by Superman's unexpected appearance. What does this mean? Confess that you and Leader Laverne planned the bombing of a neutral vessel, and I'll bash your brains out. It's true, it's true. You will pay for your unhanded tactics, but that's all I want to hear. Taurian army shakeup by high command to... Oh, I like this. Another scoop for Clark Kent, the Daily Star, and Superman. The Spectre, the most sensational... Oh, see, Spectre. Most sensational action strip thriller of all time, appears in each and every issue of More Fun Comics. Get your copy now. Sold at the fucking newsstands. All right. Action Comics 23. That is what we'll get into next time. Let's mark that down. As always, brought to you by Pharaoh's Lounge. And the new Happy Harley Days Kickstarter. Watch that number grow. Yay. I love to see that. Anyway... Let's make sure we mark down the next Action Comics we'll get into next time. All right, so what do we get today? We got Leader Laverne, another possible Bond girl. Spy and Bond girl. Now, that was the war. The Great War fought by Galonia and Turan. The Great War fought by Galonia and Turan. Metropolis lies in the middle of both nations. So let's just say the loyalties were tested. And Metropolis became a cesspool. So now we have the origins of Metropolis' depression. So the loyalties were tested, Metropolis became a cesspool of violence. Of violence and mistrust. So we are using this war between these two fictional European nations as the war that fucked up Metropolis. Sides and battle lines. The idea is even introducing, it wasn't a world war, it was a civil war. That bankrupted the city, both financially and spiritually. Alright, so now we got a backstory for our Metropolis war that fucked up the city, which is why Clark and Lex are showing up here. We got our Brainiac cult. We have the possibility of Clark seducing Dolores and being captured and getting fucking fucked with by this cult. Well, you might get his first introduction into the cult. But that's where we're pausing right now. Let's go through our notes. That's what we always do at the end here. See what we can erase from our notes file. So now our layout takes us all the way to page 27. Continuing the origin of Lex. I like this. The Night You Crashed. Captain Riley, Corrupt Cop. Those people can be a part of it. Remember, Wayside Inn. We're creating a world building here, so keep some of those names. The Crypto Pits. Got into the slave labor part. Coreytown, Fugitive Walter Crane. Confide Lex Luthor. Ultra Humanite, we brought up that idea. Superman whipping some ass. Corrupt Governor. Senator, Governor, they're all there. All these guys could be in on it. Thornton and Blakely. Elsa Maxwell, Socialite. Sam Montez, the New Johannesburg, the Ballyhoo Dam. They could even tell Superman. They could threaten him. You make any moves on our plans, Superman, and we will bust open the Ballyhoo Dam and take out this entire city. But first, we thought we'd have some fun. Your efforts are for naught. I mean, they could just really fuck with him in this whole scene here. I just want to see if I want to move it up this quickly and even say, we can bust open the Valleyhood Dam and take out this entire city. They can speak of the Civil War between Torn and Galonia. The war that should have destroyed this city. But in the aftermath of this chaos would rise a Superman who has no moral imperative but to impose his will on the world. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a fucking story. That Nietzsche quote's going to open up our fucking script here. The story's about Metropolis. Lex is a patriot. They don't need my power, they only need my example. I like that we keep going up to the Baronta. That's the second time they brought the Baronta back, so we need the Baronta's got to be in the story. That'll be the ship, not the sea serpent. The Baronta is going to be her ship. They sank the Baronta. And he could literally be in that metal suit. We can use the metal suit again with modifications from Lex. Remember the swerve. Lex is not Ultra. Directive 4. Kryptonite Mine, we already done this. Barclay Hotel, Warren Canyon. Nate the Snake, Louis the Rat, Gigs the Big Boy Cheney. Our Two Nations, Lita Laverne, New Spy Girl, What We Do Arrest Us, I'm No Lawn Man. We have the whole thing with her seducing Clark. Alright, we did good, people. Next up, we'll have page 28. Now again, as you lay out dialogue, these pages might end up getting bigger, longer. When we feel that we've gotten to the end, what we might actually do is when we get to page 60, I'm going to take a break and lay out dialogue. And then see how long the story is from there. That could be fun too. Fun, 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 to the daddy, to the seabird away. Because again, some of these can end up being a lot of panels and pages. So again, we're doing our layout here. Because if you have the cult, the Brainiac cult fucking him up too early, you know, throwing his ass out, leaving him for dead and all that shit, well, you kind of shoot your load. And you don't want to do that. Alright, so we've gotten to the idea of a swerve. We're introducing Ultra Humanite, is basically the Brainiac minion. We have Clark going to the club, seeing the fighting pits. But we want to get to a scene where he's seducing Dolores Winters and maybe he's catching on to what the crypto is. And maybe she injects him with some crypto or just pops open some black crypto and gets him to hallucinate and get fucked up and everything. And of course, that could be where he runs into all of them. And they could fuck his ass up. So again, he could bolt out and go off to the family farm again. And train to get back and take on Ultra. There's a lot of places you can go. So we're leaving ourselves on a nice cliffhanger. So for those of you getting involved with Professor Kane's writing class, thank you for coming this far. And I hope you're learning something. I hope you're learning how to formulate your own master scripts. We're using Superman. We're using the Action Comics comic lore. We're already up to issue 23, which we will continue during our next class as we figure out how to get from the crypto fighting pits, the crypto pits, to our next plot device, which is either the bad guys capturing Superman and beating the shit out of him, or something further. I don't like filler, so if I want to get to that next scene, then we're going to get to it and then come up with something even cooler to keep it further going. But again, it's a lot of stream of consciousness when we write, and the idea is to take all these crazy streams of consciousness and to organize it into our beautiful menagerie or masterpiece. So until then, next time, enjoy. This is your man Pharaoh Kane signing off. Professor Kane. Professor Kane.